Tuesday tea time, sound of the bell. Letting that sound arrive at the ears as we settle into our seat, our meditation seat. Maybe it's a new place, maybe it's a place we've been sitting at over and over again. Just coming together to welcome each other, our various ages and ethnicities, our cultural heritage and religious backgrounds, our various socioeconomic groups and abilities, sexual orientation and gender identity. Acknowledging all of these complex dimensions, and that we honor each other in this practice that we're undertaking. And we offer a heartfelt welcome to each other. We study together and practice for the benefit of all beings and for this living earth, and honor and appreciate those indigenous peoples that have been in this region, those whose ancestral lands are where we now occupy. The Grand Ronde, the Cowlitz, the Siletz, many, many native communities that made their homes where we are. Recognizing and respectfully acknowledging and honoring all those communities, past, present, and future, and grateful for their ongoing and vibrant presence. And including within this acknowledgement of elders and ancestors, all of those who contributed to the teachings of the Buddha arriving to us in this time period. So many generations of people, the Asian immigrants that brought Buddhism to the United States, our direct ancestors who went to India and China, Burma, Sri Lanka to bring back teachings, and all of those who taught before them, the Sangha, the community of lay people and monks and nuns. We're not alone in our practice, and we have the blessing in this lifetime to be born human so that we can practice, we can undertake looking at the mind, feeling our hearts and minds, being with what arises, using mindfulness, letting the body be relaxed in this place that we've chosen. Honoring the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the ability to become awakened in this lifetime, understanding the teachings for ourselves by seeing clearly, moment to moment awareness of what's happening now in the mind, in the body. The Buddha taught us to be body-centered. He spoke about this fathom-long body in which everything exists. And so that simple practice of starting our practice with attention on the breath at the nostrils or at the belly, noticing sensations there of coolness or warmth, roughness, smoothness. Whether you're at the nostrils or whether your attention is at the belly, more inside the body, we notice what's happening, what sensations are present, which brings our attention right down to a single second or two. This is what's happening now. Pressure, heat, jaggedness. You make up your own words of gently noting this sensation is happening at the nostrils, at the belly, grounding ourselves in the body, or at the touch point, feeling our buttocks on the chair, feeling where our hands are touching, or where our eyelids are touching, or where our lips are touching. Breath by breath, moment by moment, we want to come back to what is happening now. So often we get immediately sucked into thinking, stories, storytelling about something about the past, or something imagining about the future. We want to return again to the breath, to this moment, which is constantly changing, expanding, contracting, bringing all kinds of sensations with it. But we start with the breath for a while, just to be grounded in the body, letting relaxation flow through the body. Whatever that looks like for you. There could be a body scan flowing from the top behind your eyes and through your body. Or you could very slowly bring to mind parts of the body relaxing at the neck or at the shoulders, down the arms and hands. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do except stay alert, aware of what's happening in the heart and in the mind. However we feel the breath in the body, bringing our attention there. by breath, moment by moment, we can ask ourselves what is happening now. Has our mind wandered off into a fantasy about the future, recollecting something about the past? That's okay. The mind does that. But we want to gently and with patience bring it back to the here and now. We want to hold ourselves in kindness. And you might begin realizing once you actually look at the mind that it can really only focus on one thing at a time. So we want to incline it toward skillful thinking, letting go of what isn't helpful. A quote that I recently read from Ada Limon, from Where the Light Comes From, said, "So often you just forget that you're living, and in doing so, you forget that you're dying, and you forget to be present altogether." I always think that one of the easiest ways to remember to love the world is to remember that you have to leave it at some point. May we be present to this current experience, one moment at a time. As practitioners, we tend to more often be aware of dying and remembering the present. And so we do that in this formal way, beginning again and again with the breath or the touch point, holding ourselves in love and kindness, trying to be in the present moment, one moment at a time. And the practice is not just about watching the breath, but it's about really seeing it clearly, realizing the impermanent nature of it. It's just a symbol for us to really recognize that Impermanence happens with each inhale because the breath only lasts a certain amount of time. And we can follow it all the way through, perhaps, to the exhale. Or even if we just wake up in a moment of noticing where the breath is, inhaling or exhaling. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know by direct experience, by feeling it through the body, that I'm breathing out. And we can notice that that breathing is impermanent. It only lasts as long as it's going to last within our bodies. It leaves on its own accord. And we can find that that can be applied to other experiences. Being present with something. Facing it with courage and openness, open-heartedness. As Roshi Joan Halifax likes to talk about the body as the soft belly in the front. And I think she says the straight spine or something like that about the back, which is the tougher part, but the soft belly is the front part. And we open to experience whatever is arising in our hearts and minds, or whatever's happening in the body if our attention goes there, because something is calling us. We pay attention to that with mindfulness. So our attention might expand past the breath only and go throughout the whole body, moving from object to object, not making it move, just seeing what's present. Sometimes our attention goes to something happening in the body that might be tingling or warm or cool. We might notice aversion to it or attachment to something about it. All of that is part of the practice. That brings insight into the practice, observing. And that allows wisdom to take hold. To attend with mindful awareness if something's unnecessary, not helpful, unskillful. We can easily let it go and incline the heart and the mind to something more skillful. Kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity. Noticing what's happening before we fall into extremes. If we need to adjust our posture or move while we're sitting, we bring mindfulness to the action. We can notice the intention happening in the mind before the movement starts. We can bring mindfulness into this very moment of desire that will turn into action before the action. And then we can be with the action while it's moving. And when we settle again, we just bring our attention back into the body, into the breath, into subtle inner movements of the body. Subtle inner movements of the heart-mind. What is the mood of the mind? We develop this calm abiding, developing the mind's inherent stability, clarity, and strength. We place our attention on the body or on the breath. We notice when it moves away, and we gently return to resting the mind one-pointedly. And we can begin to see our habit patterns of wildly grasping after objects. Usually objects of pleasure. And this practice of insight meditation turns the mind away from delusion, away from our confused notions about ourselves and others and our world. And it turns the mind towards the reality of things as they truly are. It helps us understand in a series of steps the truth of egolessness, of emptiness, and of great joy. And may we remember to bring gratitude into our hearts. Gratitude for our practice, gratitude for each other and others. Practicing mindfulness of gratitude consistently leads to a direct experience of being connected to life and the realization that there's a larger context in which our personal story is unfolding. Being relieved of endless wants and worries of our own life's drama, even temporarily, is liberating. And so cultivating thankfulness and appreciation for being part of life blossoms into a feeling of a refined appreciation for the interdependent nature of life. And it elicits feelings of generosity that create further joy. Gratitude can soften our hearts if it's become too guarded, and it could build the capacity of forgiveness, which creates a clarity of mind that's much more ideal for our spiritual development. So as we hold ourselves in our hearts, softening the heart, bringing others to mind, holding them in kindness and in compassion, bringing to mind a friend, a loved one, a family member, a benefactor that's guided us, we've benefited from. Holding them with kindness and gentleness within our heart space. In these often challenging times, we wish them ease. May you be at ease. And letting our hearts to expand another person, to include another person. Seeing them healthy and happy, at ease. May they experience peace. May they have happiness and the causes of happiness. And may we bring another person, someone that we don't know, a neutral person that we don't have an opinion about. Just as I wish to be happy, I know that you also wish to be happy. May you be at ease. May you experience happiness and the causes of happiness. And may we bring others into our hearts. Neighbors, people within our sphere, to the north and to the east, to the south and to the west of us. Letting that circle of kindness and compassion radiate in all directions, above and below, around and everywhere. May it include people seen and unseen. Those that are in sorrow, those that are joyful, those enlightened and those unenlightened. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from harm, safe and protected. Be at ease as we strengthen our hearts and minds in these metta phrases. May it reach others and may it strengthen our basis in loving kindness, compassion. May it keep our hearts open to difficult things. As we do our best to be equanimous around what happens. And may we remember joy. May we celebrate the joy of others. Anicca vata sankhara upadawa yadomino upakitawa meruchanti te sam vapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. Thank you for your practice. May it bring joy to your life. May you remember that the merit of the practice is of benefit to all beings. And that's not just a silly phrase, it's true. Well, how we cultivate our hearts and minds, how we make an effort to see clearly suffering that occurs from grasping and clinging. Every moment that we see it is a moment of wakefulness, and that brings great joy to the heart. So don't forget it.